Why is typing curse words in chat punished harder and more consistently than soft inting? Because it's easily detectable. If you say a slur in chat, I know you're a bad person, and I know you did it, and I can ban you for it, right? It's trivial to detect you being a terrible person in chat, right? Like, that's very, very easy to do. It's not that we don't care about soft inting. Like, we do. It's just soft inting is much harder to detect and much harder to detect without getting false positives. And that's the issue. And so the question about soft inting is not, why don't you care about it comparing to saying bad words? It's that, well, if you say bad words, it's easy to find. Whereas soft inting is just much more complex. It's like, how do you know when someone's deliberately trying to lose the game? Alawi is dead again. She's like me last game. See, so that's the question, right? We were talking about soft inting earlier. Hard to know. Maybe Alawi is soft inting. Maybe she's trying really hard and Bullbear is just really good. Maybe she's tilted but still trying to win, right? Like, there's a lot of possibilities for a person being 1-7. It's not all just wants to lose the game necessarily. Soft inting is more like when a support is mad at their AD carry and goes AFK in a bush. Well, that one's pretty easy, right? But you have to understand that, like, people's definitions of soft inting are different, right? A lot of people, if we, like, as an example, are like, okay, everybody, we're gonna let you report people for soft inting and be really good and only report them if they're soft inting, right? Like, a lot of people just report people that go 1-7, right? So again, like, it's complicated. Like, yeah, some things are obvious, but that's not the complicated part. The complicated part is the stuff that's not obvious. Like, as an example, did you know that there's a very famous player who wins by inting and got challenger doing so, right? Did you know that the way he plays looks very familiar to players who are deliberately trying to lose? That's the challenge. Yeah, and so again, it's challenging because it turns out there's legitimate strategies in League of Legends that involve running it down, but that doesn't mean that everybody running it down is trying. And so again, how do you detect it without getting false positive? That's the difficulty. 1-7 debatable, 1-15 not debatable. Last game I was 1-15. I played like shit. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm the reason we lost that game, but I wasn't soft inting. I was just playing terribly, right? That's the hard part. Ah! Yeah, we've lost. What about people literally typing, I will lose the game in int? Then after a ticket, I see them playing weeks later. So you do know that we do bans in escalation patterns, right? Like, someone could type that get banned and be playing the game weeks later. We'll start with that, right? Like we do 3-day bans, we do 2-week bans, and not every ban is a permaban, nor should it be. The other thing to think about is we ban patterns of behavior. And so there's a big difference between somebody typing that because they get pissed off and doing it once versus somebody doing that repeatedly. So again, not saying that it's okay to deliberately lose the game. Like, that's bad. We should punish people for that. But we ban patterns of behavior. We don't necessarily ban singular times. But, you know, ideally we'd have a system where if somebody's like typing in chat, I'm literally trying to lose the game, they'd be banned for literally trying to lose the game. There's different sets of punishments you can do based on the behavior, right? For a lot of people who are being toxic and ranked, it's a fairly sufficient punishment to have them not be able to play ranked, right? Like, that's a very real punishment for people who only enjoy playing ranked, right? It's not like... Now, is that the right punishment for all offenses? Like, obviously, if someone keeps doing it, eventually they should be banned and permabanned, things like that, of course, right? But, like, the reason we have these different types of punishments is it's a combination of, like, what is effectively punishing and what is effectively reforming, right? Have you, Riot, ever considered banning from ranked based on KDA? For example, if you have a lower than 0.5, make them play 5-10 games. But that's the problem. So what if I play Nasus and I just split push and I never participate in fights? Do I deserve to be banned? What if I'm playing a support and I'm keeping my AD carry alive, so I have some assists, but like I can't get kills, and I die a lot to keep them alive? Do I deserve to be banned? What if I'm playing Inting Sion and I'm literally Inting Sion and winning every game because of it? Do I deserve to be banned? Right, like the problem with like, say like, okay, banning KDA is there's a lot of champions who are gonna have worse KDAs. There's a lot of characters who are gonna have worse KDAs. Now obviously there's a point where you can just see that they're inting, right? Like if someone's going 0-20 every game, like yeah, of course, right? We should do something about that. Right, but like the problem with like this is actually like the one of the problems with like performance-based rewards as well. It's like some people are like, okay, well, hey, you should give me more LP if I'm the top performer in the game. That's a reasonable ask, right? I think that's reasonable, saying, hey, if you're the top performer, more LP. But the question is, what means you're the top performer? So as an example, if we did that by KDA, support players get shafted, right? Like, or the players of certain types of supports get shafted, right? If we do it by fight participation, split pushers get shafted, right? It's a pretty complicated system in terms of just all the different outputs and effects a champion can have in the game, and all the different strategies for winning. League of Legends has just a lot of different things you could be doing, and so that's the challenge, right? Just have Anthony review all the games manually. AFIC, that's exactly what we should do. I love that. Thoughts on having JHIN's 4-shot execute wards? I don't think so. Wards take singular hits. That's a weakness of JHIN. Mainly it's like sometimes you don't need to make up for a character's weakness. Sometimes it's just a property of who they are. JHIN is a character who gets to attack 4 times and reload. So in my opinion, that means that, you know, it's going to be a little harder for you to kill wards. And that's just something you're going to have to deal with because you're JHIN. And you get all these other things that you get to have for this passive that you have. One of the downsides is you only got 4 shots, which makes you kind of bad against wards. So it's a thing where it's like, I just don't know if... I don't know if it's right to solve the character's problems just because he feels a little, you know, icky with one of the systems in the game. You know, assuming the thing he has, you know, feels good in other ways, right? I'd feel differently if it was just like pure punishment, but you know, there's upsides to 4-shot and downsides to 4-shot, basically, and I think it's important that he has both to, you know, make it feel correct.